Hi, everyone.
What's up?
How are you doing? You doing all right today? Yeah? Just all right? How's your weekend been? You been having a good time so far?
It's the start of the weekend. We just had breakfast.
I'm trying to vamp because it's the start of a new series we're playing this game called SeaBed. Maybe you've heard of this game. Maybe you haven't. I came across it a couple months back. I started playing it. I got a little way into it, and I'm like, hold on. No, this is something I need to play on the channel. this is something I absolutely want to experience alongside Vivian. So I have seen a little bit of this game. I've not played it all the way through, though. So
I'm just impressed they can keep their eyes open underwater without it burning a lot. I could never do that.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be able to do that a lot when I was a kid. Probably couldn't now. Just because at a certain point you're like, why? Why would you want to do that? It just makes me feel like ass. Anyway, I've heard everyone's complaints that we don't play enough Yuri on this channel. And you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. I feel like that is something that we need to improve on here at 8PR.
All right.
So in order to continue our girls' love agenda, we will now be playing SeaBed.
Let's
Yuri
do it.
with nothing strange about it.
Oh, sure.
Created by Paleontology. Great name for a circle.
This is in pretty good condition for something that got excavated.
No.
Yeah.
Backgrounds by Puku, scenario illustration by Hyde38, and scenario script by Akira. Thank you for your work. Presented by Fruit Bat Factory.
That's a good name for a thing because I'm just imagining a little factory puffing out smoke and then off the other end of the conveyor belt a bunch of cute little bats come off.
Fruit bats aren't cute. You seen them?
Yeah.
They'll eat your face.
No, they won't. They'll eat fruit.
Yeah.
My face
I said
isn't
what I said.
fruit.
The light from the round moon broke into countless rays, wavering as it drew back. My head felt empty as though I was submerged in water. My eyelids felt exceedingly heavy, and so did my entire body, languidly sinking into the bed. Even in the darkness, I could tell Sachiko, my childhood friend, was right there next to me. I'd known her for 23 years. I was 28 now, and I first met her when I was 5. So I would like to play this character, Takugo.
Okay.
And I will be. My family moved that year. Our new house was only a 30-minute drive down the mountain from the old place with a large supermarket behind it. There were no shops around where kids could spend their allowance, save for the occasional moving stall. Back in the day, I thought of my new place as a huge city, but that was far from the truth. We had a few buildings that exceeded 5 stories, and you could see both edges of our town as well as the factory at the sea from the northern mountain. But the fact that there were fewer rice fields and more buildings compared to where I came from made it seem like a bustling city to my child's mind. On the day we moved, my mother drove back and forth between the city and the country many times. I got into the back seat of the car with the last of our luggage. Initially, we took the same road we did to reach my kindergarten, but once we had passed it, the roads turned fresh and alien. And seeing how we kept driving along the river, I somehow thought that perhaps I could make it back to the countryside on foot. Not that it mattered. As I lost myself in thought, I barely even noticed when we finally reached our destination. As our car blasted the few unfortunate pebbles off the parking lot, my mother told me that we had arrived. The parking lot was positioned right in front of our new home, its white lines denoting where the car should stand, curiously slanted. Glancing out the rear window of the car, I spotted a red 4-story apartment building. Back then, my child's mind failed to comprehend why anyone would want to draw those lines slanted. Now that I think about it, it was probably to make it easier to park cars driving in reverse gear. However, I moved from that apartment before I could get my own car, so I never had the chance to test if it was worth sacrificing 1 or 2 potential parking spaces for an extra bit of comfort.
That's our new home,
Said my mother.
Are you still sulking over it?
She let out a sigh as I focused my attention on the view outside, refusing to look into her eye.
You'll make new friends here right away.
And what if I don't?
Look how many houses there are. plenty of children living here, I'm sure. There's a park behind this building. You can go take a look.
My mother turned the ignition key to stop the engine and got out of the car. She then opened the door on the opposite side of me and began unloading our bags. I suddenly noticed a small girl walking in front of our new house. She was carrying a red bucket and a trowel. She circled around the building, disappearing behind it. As I got out of the car and started running after her, I heard my mother's voice from behind.
Hey, Takako, where are you going?
I'll go look at that park over there.
Prologue at the Clover Design Office. Awesome! What are they doing with the Okami IP these days? God hand. Something Clover Studios joke. I've pressed the A button. Oh, it's taking its time. There we go. I saw her. I think this is going to be a character you should take. Let me. I saw her jet black locks flicker through the slits of my half-closed eyelids. Sachiko turned to me as I extended my hand, her long black hair swaying in the air. She gave me her hand in response. I could feel moist warmth from her palm. Without even looking, I could feel her familiar, slender fingers intertwining with mine. As absent-mindedly gazed at her, she parted her lips.
What are you thinking?
Wait, who is speaking here?
It seems like there's a conversation.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah.
I tried to remember when we last held hands like this. As it did, the memories of how we went to a festival came flooding back into my mind.
Which festival?
The one we went to back in kindergarten. Or is it elementary school? The same one where we got all those goldfish.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't the last time we held hands.
But do you remember how many fish we got?
Was it 20 or so?
It didn't go that high. I think it was either 18 or 19.
When I came back after looking around some other shops, I found your bowl so full of fish they could barely fit in anymore.
You bought me a caramel apple back then, right?
Did I? Honestly, I was more shocked by how eager you were to keep on catching goldfish despite your scooping paper already being in shambles.
I was waiting for it to dry up.
Does that actually work? I mean, it'll just get wet the moment you stick it back into the water. Sounds like a waste of time to me.
Patience is exactly what you need to win at that game. Otherwise, how are you supposed to get all the fish?
I see we have certain misunderstandings of the goal of this activity.
She considered the space above me for a second.
Is there something wrong?
You said it was around 20, but I'm pretty sure we only brought one bag with us on our way back.
Well, you're only allowed to take up to 3 with you.
Oh, well, that really was a waste of time then.
But I could choose the cutest and most energetic ones.
Good for you.
One lived for quite a long time. I still remember having it around the time I got into middle school.
Was it that black one with a long tail?
Yeah, it lived for so long I even gave it a name.
Was it Belle or something?
Was it?
Didn't you say it reminded you of a temple's bell?
Oh, yeah.
Don't me. Oh, yeah, I remember there always being one goldfish in the water tank, but then it disappeared right alongside the tank itself. Did it get sick?
I think it was a mold or something. One day I realized it had some sort of weed growing from its scales. I tried plucking it out, but...
Sachiko knitted her eyebrows.
They grew right back. I think it suffocated in the end.
Oh, no, I think that... I think...
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that really mold?
I found a book about goldfish disease sometime later. It said that weed doesn't grow on a live fish, but in the case of a goldfish, it can grow on mold that gets stuck between the scales. The book even explained how to fix it.
Would have been nice if you found that book earlier.
Yeah.
I closed my eyes and listened to the silence, but it was so overwhelming that I ended up opening my mouth again.
I think the goldfish resented its master for being unable to cure even a simple disease like that?
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know either. Love that goldfish, though. Haven't kept another fish since. I liked how elegant it looked as it swam along with its little tail behind it. When I got it at the festival, it wasn't that long, you know, but then it grew really fast. It's always different from the others.
I see. I wonder if this goldfish is a metaphor.
Nah. What makes you think that?
The usual spasm woke me up. My ears were ringing. Lying atop my bed in the fetal position, I prepared myself to endure its ever-loudening sound. I checked the clock next to my pillow. It hadn't even been an hour since I went to sleep. The room was weakly illuminated by a lone light bulb. Soon enough, the string next to the light bulb entered my vision. As I stared intently at the plastic knob at the end of the string, I began to feel like it started to move. It grew bigger and bigger, drawing closer to me at a terrible speed before finally disappearing. I looked away, only to be met with a noise even more unbearable. I closed my eyes and covered my ears, stiffening my entire body, waiting for the storm to pass. I remembered a surefire way to fall asleep quickly, a trick taught to me by a friend. I had to imagine myself floating on the surface of an empty sea. Yet right now a storm was ravaging my personal sea, making it less than ideal place for relaxation. I felt sick, tremendously so.
Imagining floating on the sea would make it so hard for me to get to sleep. The sea is terrifying.
Why? The sea's great.
It's so deep. What if I sink?
The
I'm
idea
not
of the
very
sea is
floaty.
great.
I'm not very floaty.
You
I'll
should be
sink.
Sachiko.
I turned the page. I clutched the book so the wind blowing between the school building and the concrete wall wouldn't flip the page back again. I had my own special space behind the campus. A gloomy little place that always felt a bit damp. Still, few people ever ventured there, so I could always trust it to be silent. The door to the emergency exit behind me suddenly opened. The girl that came through approached me and leaned over to inspect what I had been reading.
Found you.
Do you want something? I shifted my gaze to this tall schoolgirl. Takako's familiar face was mere centimeters away from mine. She carried some water in her cupped palms. It seeped through her slender fingers, a few drops traveling down her white arms, peeking out of the skimpy summer school uniform. Adjusting the position of my glasses, I considered Takako's face. Even bowing down, she seemed very tall.
You just can't get enough of places like this, can you? First it was on the school's building emergency staircase, then behind the judo hall, and later at the library's veranda where no one ever goes? How do you even find these places? Makes you wonder if you're some kind of different species compared to the rest of us.
Sachiko's the kind of person that finds the strangest place to hang out in a technically public building. I appreciate that vibe. I don't know if you did this when we were at our university or not, but finding the strangest places in the public buildings. Making like, nope, this is my spot now.
Yeah, I really liked there was one beat up old leather armchair hidden in the backmost corner behind the furthest row of books in the underground library annex.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh, wow, this one spot where no one would ever believe that a chair would be, and no one would ever go except on like a research assignment where you have to pick up a medical book that they don't have in the main collection. But like, nope, really comfy armchair, totally silent. No one will ever be there except for rarely one librarian. But it's technically a public part of the library.
Yep. So I love it. I love that feeling of finding a technically public spot where you can still be alone.
Takako drew away from me, leaving a trail of drops behind her until she finally unloaded her palm full of water on a bush of white clovers. I doubt it really needs you watering it.
Well, it's just that. Otherwise it wouldn't feel like it's mine, you know?
Once she had finished watering the plant, she swept back her long twin tails in a single irritated motion. She only adopted that hairstyle near the beginning of this month and still appeared to have trouble making both tails the same length.
It's bullshit. How am I supposed to see in the back of my head? I can't do it.
Did you know that the Japanese name for the white clover comes from the fact that it was used as cushioning material for packing glassware?
Oh?
Don't you think it would be way cooler if your parcels were filled with white clovers instead of bubble wrap?
I mean, I guess so. They shouldn't write off bubble wrap like that. It's pretty great to play around with when you're bored.
Yeah,
Boop. Boop. Do you have some bubble wrap right now, actually?
I don't.
All right, I'll be right back.
You... Oh, I said
You
yeah.
looked up its name?
I imagined it might have some deeper meaning since it was a present from you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I see. By the way, the weather is great today. Oh,
Oh, shit.
we swapped the entire
We swapped.
time?
I'm so sorry.
it's really hard to keep track of who's talking.
It really is. Oh, so it goes.
I literally don't know when we switched.
Why, the weather's great.
No, I think it was fine up until we did the page turn here.
Okay.
Weather's great today, so what are you doing reading in a place like this?
I'm here precisely because the weather is good. If it wasn't, I would be at the library instead.
Keep sitting in a murky place like this all the time, you're gonna rot alive.
That's not how the real world works.
I mean, like, mentally?
I won't do that either.
Speaking of which, your cousin Anna has psychic powers, right? When I told her you
What?
keep reading books in places like this.
Who gave you permission to spread rumors about me?
Oh, I did, it's fine.
I see.
She said that they all gave her shivers, and that she can't get any close to any of them. And this one spot behind the campus is like the worst of them all.
I guess that's why I never feel lonely being here, even by myself.
Hey, that's not how a normal person should react to that. So, anyway, I actually went out of my way to find a much better place for you than this, and it's just as quiet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can actually get some sunlight there, and a pleasant breeze to boot.
Does such a convenient place really exist?
I'll show you. Come on.
I stuck a bookmark in between the pages with a sigh, closed my book, and followed Takako. We began climbing the staircase of school building number 4, going all the way up to the 4th floor and beyond, until we reached the door leading to the roof.
Sorry, it does that on its own. I'm not trying to cut you off.
A steel lock was keeping it shut, though.
Life is like a staircase. I ever tell you that? Sometimes you just gotta keep climbing.
Yeah, I know how it is.
Hey, keep an eye out for anyone coming, all right?
Takako drew closer to the small window and began fiddling with the lock using a hairpin she produced from her pocket. After she was done with that, she grabbed the frame of the window and started shaking it, filling the corridor with clattering noise. It let out a final loud rattle before its lock sprung out of its place with a click.
Stealth takedown.
Takako opened the small window and, planting her foot on the windowsill, jumped through. She turned around and extended a hand, signaling me to follow her. Frowning, I exhaled a sigh, but that didn't faze her in the slightest. I sheepishly gave her my hand and, after taking a step on the windowsill, was pulled outside. A cool breeze swept across the roof. I could feel it caressing my hair as I closed my eyes, unable to stand the brightness. Wow, she's a greenette.
Got a problem with that bitch?
No. You weren't lying about the weather. I opened my eyes to see Takako looking around the roof.
Right? So what do you think?
Well, it's not bad, that much I can give you, but are you sure no one will come?
Well, the door's locked, so,
I moved to the deeper end of the roof, closer to the area behind the campus, sat down on one of the benches there and opened my book. With our school being located on the mountainside, I could view most of our port town and even the sea in the distance. The blue sky extended from one edge of the sea to the next. Takako shifted her gaze from the athletics field to me.
Hey, remember the baseball field right in front of our club room? You ever heard the story about how the ground is soft between the home plate and the pitcher's mound?
Can't say I have. Takugo's facial expression told me she was about to start a really amusing story.
Oh, you'll really love this one.
I merely gave her a sideways glance and returned to my book without a moment's delay.
Hey! We all tried digging up the ground yesterday. What do you think we found?
I've no idea.
We didn't really expect to find anything at first, but when we actually dug the hole, we came upon these cartons of boxed milk.
Her eyes sparkled with excitement as she made a broad gesture trying to convey the amount they had found.
Milk, Sachiko! In the ground!
I mean, yes, that's where it comes from, isn't it?
But never pre-boxed. Who buried all that crap there?
Oh, no, sorry. That was... I thought that
Was it?
Oh.
No idea. I guess someone who didn't like milk.
You can just flush it down the toilet or something. Why go through all the trouble of burying it?
Takako placed a finger on her lower lip.
Maybe it was a trap or something?
Why would you fill your trap with milk?
Well, if it's funny, for starters. I mean, objectively hilarious. Fall into that and you'll be soaked in white goop.
But you said the ground had only become soft, right? That doesn't sound like someone could fall into it.
I don't know. I guess you wonder what they really wanted to achieve. Got any ideas, Sachi?
A ritual to express one's hatred of milk, perhaps.
Is that what people are doing these days?
No, there she goes.
Yep. Beshrew thee, milk, harbinger of woe.
Takako uttered the words with faked solemnity. The cool breeze shuffled across the roof again. I could hear the clamor of students from the athletics ground.
Oh, our class is using the basketball hoop. Don't you want to play with us there sometime?
No.
Why? It's not like you can't play.
I don't like getting sweaty or dirtying my clothes.
What? Then what about the gym?
I guess I could play hide and seek if you insisted.
Yeah, right. It's just an excuse for you to return to that gloomy old place behind the campus. I'm on to you. You and your tricks.
Takako sat down next to me on the bench with a sigh.
What are you reading, anyway?
She posed that question to me following a brief silence.
I'm trying to get your attention, by the way. You can't not pay attention to me.
I raised the hand that held my paperback so that the cover would be right in front of Takako's eyes. She considered it for a few moments.
Oh, you always keep reading old stuff.
I didn't react, so she continued.
You don't read any recent bestsellers.
I prefer older books. It was probably because my mother's family home had a bunch of them lying around. As a child, I'd spend hours reading in my grandmother's room every time I went to visit. But one day, all those books vanished, along with the whole shelf. They said they wanted to make the room feel more spacious. Now that they weren't even easily accessible anymore, I felt an even stronger urge to read them. But since I didn't care much for anything other than the plot when I was little, I could remember neither the titles nor the authors. All I knew was that they were in reddish-brown cases that also served as appendices, that they lined 3 rows of the bookshelf, and that all of them were written by different authors. When I asked my grandparents, it turned out all those books belonged to my distant uncle, and not even they knew much about them. I tried asking my mother as well, but that didn't yield any results either. She wasn't exactly thrilled with the idea of me reading those kinds of books in the first place. Thanks to Takako's insistent questions, I ended up remembering that particularly frustrating episode in my life and was completely taken out of the world of the book I was reading.
I get that, but I was just wondering exactly what you like about them, you know? What kinds of books do you like in general?
The kind that make you want to keep reading, even if something had gotten into your eye. But Takako probably wouldn't be satisfied with such a vague answer.
Telling you right now, I'm not going to be satisfied with the vague answer.
I see.
Don't even try it.
What about you?
Huh? I like whatever's interesting, I guess.
I thought you wanted to know what made those books interesting,
I like the kind that make you want to keep reading even if something bad gotten into your eye.
Takako said. I spontaneously responded with a frown. I could feel my entire face having "Are you for real?" written all over it.
So what exactly do you like about old books, Sachi?
Their atmosphere, I guess.
I see.
As I remained silent, Takako added that she felt the same way.
The world they take place is different enough from ours to feel fresh, you know?
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Oh no, is this Sachiko explaining that to Takugo?
Okay.
Yeah.
The world they take place in is different enough from ours to feel fresh.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
I'm also curious about how society worked before I was born. I think they had a lot more things back then.
What do you mean? What kind of things?
Well, like politics and economics and movies and music, I guess.
Isn't that just because you listen to pop music that always sounds the same?
Didn't we just switch then?
Shit, we did.
Because we had it right to begin with.
Son of a gun, this is hard.
I feel like we've mostly been right at first, and when we second guess ourselves, we
Yeah, okay.
screw it up.
Well, I guess that could be it, but the way I see it, the past was a lot more chaotic than the present. They had tons of different thoughts and came up with a bunch of different ideas.
I'd say the world is just as chaotic right now. We probably just don't know it because we're still children.
You know what it is? They're always trading unless they specifically say otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is.
That could be true.
Wait, maybe we had it right all along?
There's no way to know.
Although I had to agree with the notion of being curious about the world of the past.
Yep.
I loved listening to the stories of my grandparents, and they in turn loved telling them, introducing me to a whole host of words and feelings I'd never known before. Like the title of a song I'd never heard about, or this accident I never knew happened. Even if I listened to that song now, I wouldn't be feeling the same things my grandparents did in their time. Listening to stories like that made me feel like something important in me was fastened shut with a heavy lid. Takako nodded in agreement. She said that must have been curiosity. I answered with a sigh.
It's just like that hole I told you about.
Could you not liken my hobbies to rotten milk?
What do you not like about the milk hole?
I shot an exasperated look at Takako's satisfied expression before returning to my book.
Is that book fun?
I feel like you've already asked that.
Hey, all you told me is that you like old books. Now I'm asking you about that one specifically.
Well, I guess it's not bad. Oh yeah, have you finished that book I lent you yet?
I'm still reading it. About halfway through, I think.
Ah, so you must be at the part where...
No, wait, maybe I was more like a quarter in, actually.
I see. Withdrawing her face from mine, she leaned against the bench.
Something's flying over there.
Takako narrowed her eyes, looking somewhere far in the sky. There was a large bird sailing through the blue canopy above us. It's a black kite.
Someone's flying a kite?
That's a bird, you know.
Ugh. You think it's gonna go over that mountain?
I don't think so. Isn't it just looking for prey?
Well, I had this weird dream the other day. Like, I went beyond the mountains surrounding our town, and all I found was just endless grass and shallow puddles of water. Basically just a huge marsh.
Have you ever been outside this town?
Nah.
Maybe that's why.
Those mountains sometimes look like prison walls holding us inside.
Well, you should just go wherever you want once you grow up.
What if it's like a Truman Show thing?
I turned the page.
You'd tell me if you were on the Truman Show, right?
Probably.
Let's go overseas then.
Good luck with that.
No, you're coming too.
It sounds like a pain in the neck. Takako let out a chuckle.
I know you actually want to go.
And why would you think that?
Well, I've known you for a long time now.
Huh.
Don't underestimate your childhood friends.
Takako's raised voice prompted me to instinctively cover my ears, nearly causing me to drop the book I'd been reading. Why did you rephrase that? Did you actually think that line sounded cool? Takako's cheeks flushed a light hue of red. That's why you repeated yourself?
No, not really.
The sun rays dancing across the blue sky above warmed my exposed knees.
We only have 5 classes today, right? Seeing how it's Wednesday? Let's go see a movie after school. Or we can do karaoke if you want.
I've been having a sore throat lately, so I can't do karaoke. Any good movies on right now?
Well, there's, that. The one we talked about last week.
I've never heard of a movie called that.
It's very avant-garde. It's on the tip of my tongue.
So what is it?
You keep urging me, so now I forgot.
Hey, don't make it my fault. You never even knew it in the first place, did you? Well, you have time to remember until school is over.
Do you remember the final song we did the last time we went to karaoke?
I do.
I was on my bike heading home when I got into a traffic light. I checked if no one was around and started singing it by myself, only to realize there was a biker parked right behind me. Oh boy, that was embarrassing.
Is that so? But I'm not going to karaoke today. I have a sore throat.
I wasn't trying to say I wanted to go.
So you just wanted to tell the story?
Yeah,
I see. Good for you.
thanks.
The tips menu? Wow.
Oh, excellent. We should, so periodically as we do this, we're going to start unlocking tips. So we should save our game and go check out the tips.
Alrighty.
Oh, hold on. How do I? Where's my menu button?
What?
Oh, it's on auto. Where's my pause button? Oh. There, it's the B button? The B button's the menu? All right, fine. Let's go ahead and save that there. And then, before we continue on with whatever's going on there, don't worry about that. Let's go check out the tips section.
Alright.
Huh. Okay.
What the fuck does that mean?
Right? What does that mean? Let's go ahead and find out what that means.
Okay.
Let's just go right on in here. Pale light filled the early morning corridor, its stale, humid air tickling my nose. I shook my still somewhat drowsy head and continued with my daily routine, inspecting the room equipment. Today was room 008's turn. Room 8? Just room 8, yeah. Not breaking my stride, I pulled out a bunch of keys from my pocket and began looking for the one marked with the number 008. Must have been about 50 keys on that bunch, and with the notebook under my armpit, it took quite a while until I found the key I was looking for. That said, I still managed to have it ready by the time I reached the door with the number 08. 008. As I opened it, the room on the other side sucked much of the fresh air inside, almost like it was breathing. I quickly entered and went on with my business, making sure that all the furniture and equipment in its murky, dust-riddled room was still in the right place. The table and the sofa were covered with white sheets, making them look like ghosts. A cardboard box rested next to the sofa. It had been over 10 years since this place turned into a storage room. It had actually been half a year since I last came here. After glancing over the furniture, I moved on to the shelves by the wall. One of the shelves was filled with dishware, while the other boasted a whole collection of thick, hardcover books. On the dishware shelf, there were a bunch of white plates stacked upon each other, alongside a few cups and saucers further down. I spotted a case wrapped in a piece of cloth with a checkered design. In it, there were forks, spoons, and knives. My gaze halted on one particular dish in the back of the shelf that stood out from the rest. The previous owner of the room made it in elementary school, back when she was a member of the pottery club. It's about a palm-sized and shaped like a tulip, covered in reddish brown, like rusted iron. She received some help from the club's supervisor, a professional potter, but aside from the color, she was relatively satisfied with how it turned out. I considered the dishes one more time, feeling as though I had missed something. She made 3 dishes in total over the time she spent at the pottery club during her 6th year of elementary school. One she presented to her grandfather, but the other 2 she kept on this shelf. However, the green dish that was supposed to be next to the reddish-brown one wasn't there. I opened my notebook. It had everything about this room marked down in detail. I turned the page to find that there was indeed supposed to be a green cup here. There were no notes of it being removed. It seemed as though it had simply disappeared by itself. I crossed it out and wrote down today's date slightly above it. Since I found one article missing, I decided to check every single item inside. It was nowhere near as easy as it initially sounded. After I finished, I found out that 2 books were also missing from the shelf. I crossed them out too and wrote today's date above them. With that done, I left the murky room and locked the door behind me. I glanced at the clock to realize the whole ordeal took me over an hour. Returning the keys to the night duty room, I continued with my other duties.
What the fuck kind of job is this?
Yeah, what kind of job is this? Yeah, that's kind of a strange job, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine and normal. Huh.
That's an interesting tip system, too. I didn't expect it to be whole other parallel scenes.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very strange. So let's load in here. Oh, yeah, no, we both have the same idea.
We will now begin boarding for flight 56 to Paris.
Oh, I don't know who's... oh, no, this is Sachiko.
It'll say when we go out of this and back there.
Yeah.
The caster wheels attached to my bag rolled over the immaculately cut stone floor in an energetic clatter. There weren't that many people in the off-season airport, so I could walk relatively freely. I walked to the escalator going up, placed my bag on it, then boarded it myself. I glanced down to see Takako staggering as she tried carrying a large Boston bag in her arms. I checked to see if my bag was steady on the escalator and pulled down my right sleeve to confirm the time. We're late.
It's 'cause you drive so slow, you know?
Actually, it's because you overslept.
Can't prove that.
I shifted my gaze from the clock to Takako, who looked away to avoid my eyes.
Well, this escalator is pretty long. I've never seen one like this before.
I could hear the escalator buzzing below us. I heaved a brief sigh. And if you felt like I was driving slow, there's seriously something wrong with you. Has no one ever taught you about preventative driving?
Preventive driving?
It's based in foreseeing the possible dangers on the road. You might be going too fast without realizing it. A car might appear in the opposing lane. You might have to abruptly brake. A pedestrian might jump on the road.
Oh my god, are you an Esper? You might have run over something, huh?
Too late to worry about that now.
Oh.
Takako let out a hearty chortle.
I don't know, what's a chortle sound like? Not. Are we really cutting it that close?
It's about an hour and a half until the flight.
Think we'll make it in time for check-in?
Let's hurry.
You want me to run again?
Takako didn't seem too thrilled about the idea. I glared back at Takako. She leaned against her Boston bag, placed a step above the one she was standing on, and closed her eyes. Don't sleep. Her head was at the perfect height for me to flick it.
Please don't flick my head in real life. I know you're thinking about it, but please don't. Ouch.
I didn't flick it.
You flicked my arm.
Takako placed her left hand on her forehead. Did that help wake you up?
Yeah, I guess.
I lifted my bag and stepped off the escalator as it reached the top. Takako picked her Boston bag back up and followed
Okay,
me.
I gotta know. What's a Boston bag? Hold on.
I've been watching you hover over Google.
like I'm thinking of...
I've literally never heard those words in my life.
I've never heard that used to describe it, but it's kind of like imagine a purse, but sized in
suitcase size.
like a suitcase-sized purse.
Huh.
That also looks like equally more durable.
Huh.
It's like a purse one might take to travel with. If you decided that I'm going to travel with nothing but a purse, this is what you would use.
I guess so.
Okay, I didn't know that was the name for that. You saw me hovering over that like several times, like, do I do it? Do I not?
I walked through the carpeted corridor at a hurried pace. Through the row of windows to the right, I could clearly see the cloudless blue sky. I looked to my side as the caster wheels of my bag rolled at a brisker pace than before. Takako held the Boston bag in her arms. I had no idea where she got it. It seemed like an antique, covered in freight seals with a bunch of different languages.
I just picked it up somewhere.
I see. You didn't bring much, as usual.
You think so? I think I packed everything I'd need. Passport, tickets, camera, notepad, medicine, and a nail clipper.
You're buying clothes at our destination again?
Yep. And I can wear this for as long as there's a washing machine around.
Takako pulled on her shirt to show it off.
Isn't it cute? I think it's cute. Let's buy everything we need once we get there.
Good idea. As we followed the guide map, we found ourselves in a wide hall.
Is this Charles de Gaulle? Because they're in Paris right now, right?
It sounded like they were on the way to Paris.
On the way to Paris. Right, so that wouldn't be that then.
There were check-in counters at the end of it, and the flight board in the middle dangling midway between the ceiling and the ground. I left my bag on the ground and took a few steps toward the board to confirm our boarding gate. Takako soon followed suit. A melody rang out from the speakers at the top, signaling the beginning of another boarding announcement.
I like the sound design in this.
Yeah.
There's always, like, they've got great Foley work. I don't know if you call that Foley work. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't listening too closely at first, but I could confirm the details from the simple English announcement and the actual flight board.
Don't you think it's this?
It is. Spotting a big round clock in the middle of the hall, I confirmed how much time we still had. Let's go. I picked up my pace again.
Whoa, 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 don't leave me here. Hey!
Takako cried out behind me.
What, you don't like Mzaki?
As our late-night airplane landed, we passed a desolate corridor to reach passport control. Takako, who had been relatively energetic at the start of our long trip, grew more and more silent as nightfall came. She was now merely wobbling behind me, her steps unsteady. I showed my passport and ticket to an angry-looking official. We stepped into the dark of night as we left the airport, but the graffiti on the concrete walls, the wide roads, and the alien smell of the humid air made it clear to us that we were now in a different part of the world. It made Takako regain some energy. As we boarded our bus, she sat down right behind the driver's seat and acted as though she was listening to the English conversation of the driver and the guide, giving solemn nods at timed intervals. What did they say?
I think they were talking about going somewhere with someone.
Let me guess, you haven't the foggiest what they just said.
Look, I can understand a few words, okay?
You should practice more and translate for me.
Yeah, whatever.
Drops of rain pattered against the wide front window. I wonder if the weather is going to be all right tomorrow.
Oh, shit. I think...
Okay.
This is so hard.
I think we had it right.
Okay. I hear the weather changes real fast around here. Should be okay, I think.
There was no point trying to argue with such a positive, if groundless, notion. I shifted my eyes to the scenery outside, noticing some unfamiliar southern plants amongst the trees lining the streets. As I spent my time absent-mindedly gazing out the window, we eventually reached the hotel.
I am 100% beat.
Takako threw her bag on the ground and dived face first into the bed.
Ha! Body slam.
Meanwhile, I checked the safe in the bathroom and sorted out my baggage. You don't want to confirm our plan for tomorrow?
Just wake me up when it's time to go.
Are you okay with that bed? Sounds like a yes. It's morning. Wake up.
Hey,
Oh,
hey,
wait,
you
we
sounded like
swapped.
me for a
Damn
moment.
it.
Wow. I feel like there's some literature on this. It's like it's a curse related to this old dynastic family from like the 80s, I think. It's morning. Wake up.
Takako parted the curtains in a single violent swing, turning in the direction of the noise with my eyes still half opened. I was welcomed by a beautiful blue sky beyond the window. But even if that sky was gray, the ski would still be blue to me because I was here with Takako.
Aww. Oh my god, that's a snake, isn't it? Hey, Sachi, I found a snake.
Wow,
Look,
that's
look,
pretty cool.
I found a snake.
Takako came over and began banging the area of the bed just next to my pillow.
Let's go have breakfast.
Where?
Think I saw a fast food place from the balcony? You can go see what they have, and if it sucks, look for another place.
Let me change first.
Hurry up! Dépêche-toi! Dase prisa!
Jeez, give me a break. I began dressing myself while complaining about my loudmouth roommate.
I'm not loud. Do you have a mouth, though?
In the end, we decided to buy hot dogs from a nearby convenience store for breakfast. The sausage came in either spicy or normal flavors, and you could choose pickles, cabbages, and shredded onion for the vegetable topping. The bread felt a bit soggy to the touch through the silver foil it was in, but the strong taste of the other ingredients solved that problem. Takako was panicking over having accidentally drenched her thing in mustard. Being a person who wasn't into spicy cuisine, she tried to eliminate the taste by adding more ketchup. Later, she told me she ended up putting on so much she could taste nothing other than that.
It was like a soup of condiments.
In any case, it was big enough to quell her morning hunger. So where are they then? Because the earlier thing said flight to Paris, but like sausage with pickled cabbage and so on, that sounds pretty German to me. But also, she was talking French earlier, but also said darse prisa, which I'm pretty sure is not French.
Yeah, wouldn't you like to know
So
where they are, huh?
where the fuck are they?
Hey, let's go to the beach.
Okay,
Let's go to Japan's Machu Picchu.
we can't.
Aw.
Takako blurted that out right as we left the convenience store. Right now?
Huh. You got your swimsuit and the oil? Can't forget the water goggles either. Unless we're on the cover photo.
I have everything, but I thought we agreed to explore the town in the morning.
There's no time like the present. I feel like swimming right now. Yay! Come on.
I caught Takako by the hand as she was about to stride off in the direction of the beach. Wait. Remembering Takako's love for playing with water, I decided to stop her for now. Even as a child, the mere sight of a puddle of water, be it a river, rice paddy, or sea, would purge all thoughts from her mind save for swimming and perhaps looking for marine animals. She'd keep at it until the sun had already set.
Listen, I can't be helped if marine animals are awesome.
Let's just stick to the plan.
Why?
Wouldn't you prefer not having any other plans on your mind when you go swimming? So you can take your time and relax until it gets dark?
I see. You got a point there, Sachi.
Anyway, we had that map with all the cool places marked on it, right? I took the map out of my bag.
Yeah, I remember that.
There's a shopping district right next to the hotel. I'd like to do some window shopping there.
How are we going to get the windows back through customs?
That's a good point, Sachi.
Wait, why'd you call me by
Sorry,
your name?
Takako.
Wow, that's some level of relationship.
I just saw that movie, Call Me By Your Name.
I don't think that's what that movie was about.
Yeah, to be fair, I fell asleep after the opening credits.
Seriously? Seriously?
That's just what I'd want to do personally. Weren't you hoping to visit some sea cape as well? The one that's hot with tourists.
Yeah, the one recommended for couples, right? I'm up for that one. I heard they also had a firing range.
Takako pointed to the red circle she drew on our map.
Right there.
Guns date?
gun state.
Anyway, let's visit all the spots we picked in order.
Okay, whatever.
With her permission, we started down the wide and smooth slope in the direction of the closest mark on our map. The clear, cloudless blue sky above seemed to mock my concerns from yesterday as the warmth of the sun pierced through the air, caressing my skin. I had never seen the sun look so bright before.
So yeah, they're clearly not in... Then they might be in southern France. Or maybe they just had a connection in France.
Yeah. The water scooter ahead of us let out a loud buzz, jerking forward the banana boat that Takako and I were on.
Ah!
I could hear Takako cackling behind me.
I'm cackling.
After
I can't not cackle, actually. It's kind of the natural way to laugh.
After we took care of all our plans in the first half of the day, we left our shopping bags at the hotel and went straight to the beach. Takako found a banana boat attraction pretty much the moment we reached the place and had us checked in. It seemed to have finished its previous round and was getting prepared for the next one. Takako pulled my hand, and before I knew it, I was sitting atop the thing. The water scooter's driver looked back at us and gave an okay sign. I responded with the same sign myself. He then turned back and began to accelerate, causing our banana boat to momentarily sway back and forth like it was about to sink.
Sachi, wait, I fell.
I turned around to see Takako, who was supposed to be sitting behind me, prone with her lower half dragging in the water. You're gonna fall off if you keep playing around.
Nuh-uh.
Meanwhile, the banana boat was still swinging left and right. It kept getting swept sideways by the waves that the water scooter ahead of us caused. And every time that happened, a spray of sparkling water would shoot above us. All the while, Takako was still being pulled on the water behind me.
Fall! Fall! I'm gonna fall!
Did you say something?
Nah, just a reference.
A second water scooter drew closer to us.
I wonder if that was intentional or not, actually. Come to think of it, that might have actually been intentional.
There were two people on it, with the one riding in the back holding a camera. It seems like they're about to take pictures of us.
What? Where?
To the left. Try not to fall before they finish, okay?
I make no promises. Well, could they hurry it up?
Where's your peace sign?
You want me to do it here? Yeah.
The cameraman gave me an okay sign and lowered the camera.
Whee!
And roughly at the same time, our banana boat grew lighter as Takako crashed into the sea with a loud splash.
Worth it! That was fun.
Said Takako, her breathing ragged. Good for you. Takako didn't wait for the boat to pick her up and swam to the shore by herself.
Wonder if that picture came out well.
As I returned to dry land, the person from earlier came over to sell the photo in question. In broken Japanese, he explained how he'd send it to the hotel after developing it. It cost about 1,000 yen. So it's not included in the initial pay. Figures. Which reminded me that I had a similar experience with pushy photograph sellers at another resort, but as I was thinking that, Takako came back and gave the man the okay.
That's all good. Should still be fun even if I'm not on it.
I suppose you're right. I picked up the sunglasses I left with him for keeping and turned back to Takako.
Also, notice that one little bit that kind of clues you in on what era this might be.
Given that it's film photography?
Still film photography, yeah.
She was looking at the bright sky.
Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa!
Oh, no,
wait,
no,
is
that's
that-
you.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! As I attached the worn belt connected to the parachute to my waist and released the lever holding the contraption pinned down, I shot into the air with a thrilling sensation in my stomach. The boat I was in moments before became a tiny speck below me.
Whoa! Whoa!
I didn't think it would go this high. I held my hair down with one hand to stop it from flapping in the wind.
Are you you sure this string will really hold us down?
The rope, our sole lifeline connecting us to the boat, let out an unsettling creak that seemed to upset Takako. Of course it will. Even if it didn't, this would just be a simple parachute, no?
I see. Okay.
Look, they're waving at us.
Hi.
The instructor left far away on the small boat below us was looking at us. I waved back, and, as I thought, the rope extended and we shot even further into the sky.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Takako was squeaking miserably behind me. Admittedly, even though I felt a strange sensation in my stomach as I glanced down and saw the sea so far below I could barely make out anything. Enjoying this sense of thrill, I swung my legs back and forth a few times, shaking the contraption holding us. This, in turn, caused Takako to let out a pitiful scream.
Hey!
She clutched my shoulders.
No fair.
I stopped looking downward and inspected the island itself. I wonder if we can see our hotel from here.
Uh-huh.
Ah, isn't that the cape we've just been to? I pointed at the cape jutting out from the cliff beyond the beach where we rode that banana boat earlier. A familiar white lighthouse stood on it.
Where? Oh yeah, I think that's the place.
Looks beautiful from here too, doesn't it? Beyond the cape, as far as the eye could see, stretched the vast, cobalt blue sea. I didn't think I'd be seeing it again from this perspective. I realized that the parachute began descending. I looked down to see the boat, previously no more than a speck in size, getting bigger and bigger below us. Our little aerial sightseeing came to an end sooner than Takako could calm down. We borrowed 2 chairs with parasols as we returned to the beach. Finally able to relax a little, I leaned against my chair, put on my sunglasses, and pulled out a book from my handbag. Takako spent the rest of the time playing in the water, carrying out the She sells seashells by the seashore, carrying out the shells and starfish she found to show me.
Hey, look, I found a live one.
Just as I noticed a fat cloud drifting our way in the sky, it began to rain, lasting only a few minutes before giving way to the sunshine again. Everyone at the beach retreated to seek shelter at the cafeteria or beneath palm trees, but came back to their old spots as soon as the rain abated, continuing on as if nothing had happened. I spotted a bird looking for prey at the shore and wondered if it was a sandpiper or something like it. And as the rays of dusk began to tint the blue sky, the azure sea, and the white beach in the hue of orange, Takako came back, urging us to go have dinner. In the end, we decided on a steak restaurant next to our hotel. Its interior, wide like that of a family restaurant, was decorated in the country style. After being shown to a spacious round table, we sat down facing each other. I spotted a burly foreigner wolfing down a massive hamburger behind Takako. A man standing in the corner, likely the security guard, was dressed like a sheriff from a western. A sizable glass was placed in front of me with an audible clink.
Isn't that yours? It looks like tea.
Ah, I think it is. Oh. We swapped.
Oh, shit. My bad.
Takako pointed at herself, saying tea, and the glass traveled to her side.
It's that damn family curse.
Yep.
Only there was a name for it.
My coffee came a bit later, but the portion was once again unusually big.
So they're probably in America.
Hmm.
Maybe like
That would make sense with the remark about the bus driver speaking English.
Florida? Maybe they're in the Keys?
That could be. Yeah, for bottomless drinks, it's America.
Yeah.
They advertise that the drinks are free, but I don't think I can possibly drink all this in one go. My stomach began to ache at the very sight of that massive, almost 1-liter jug.
Why is this really tea?
Don't tell me you expected them to serve you oolong in a place like this.
Damn it, I can't drink this.
You could ask them to give you some milk and sugar.
So how many kilos of sugar would I need to add to this thing?
This can't be America. The tea's unsweetened.
Huh, okay. Okay, so
it's probably America.
It's probably still America.
But I still find it's the idea of getting the 1 liter jug of tea, but it's not Southern sweet tea in the States. Right. That's funny. That's funny. Tea equals corn syrup plus artificial tea flavoring. Don't forget, it'll all go to your body.
Oh, if I had to drink this at home, I'd either end up fat or in a damn bodybuilder. Or a damn bodybuilder. A bodybuilder who builds dams?
Takugo took a few gulps from her mug of black tea.
That's a pretty strong taste.
After a bit, Takugo's steak and my salmon arrived, along with the salad we both ordered. I didn't notice it when I was looking at the menu, but it seemed like both of what we ordered came in a set with extra pilaf and bread. Our otherwise wide table started feeling more narrow with all that food on it. This is quite the portion we have here.
Wow, it's like out of a manga. I've always wanted to have a feast like this.
Hope you've worked up an appetite. In contrast to Takugo's excitement, all I could feel was anxiety as I picked up my fork and knife, wondering how I should even begin cutting off this 300-gram beast of a salmon dish. As we returned to the hotel, Takugo crumpled down on the bed, clutching her belly.
Oh.
At first, she was excitedly wolfing down her food, but by the time half of her steak was gone, her expression clouded over and tears began welling in her eyes.
Oh.
Before we knew it, our exciting dinner turned into a battle of willpower. I made Takugo eat the pilaf I could no longer finish by myself, but neither of us could even touch the bread, and ultimately asked the waitress to pack it for takeaway. We can have this tomorrow morning. Only miserable groaning reached me in lieu of an answer. I wonder if I should put it in the fridge. I felt unsure for a few moments, but I ultimately decided to leave the paper bag next to our teapot instead, as I didn't want it to get wet. After that, I took a shower and changed into my indoor clothes. Recommending a shower to Takugo, who was still lying on the bed, seemed to have made her slowly get up.
I'm up.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit better, I think.
By the way, what do you think we should do about tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow? It's gonna be fun. I can't wait.
She answered in a soulless voice and continued to the bathroom, undressing as she walked, throwing her clothes on the ground.
The floors can have those ones. I'm done with them.
Do you ever giggle at the exact wrong frequency so it causes your teeth to vibrate against each other? I hate that.
Yeah.
Takugo jumped on the pier as our fishing boat drew closer to the shore. As the boat began slowing down, I threw Takugo the backpack with our things. Takugo caught it without problems. I picked up my handbag and stepped on the pier next to her, my sandals pressing against the old wood with a dry creak. This place looks nice. Takugo glanced around the island we just reached. We were at the small inlet of an island, a short boat ride away from the port. Judging by the size and the arrangement of the ancient planks all over the place, I assumed the pier we walked on to be handmade. The water below the white wood was clear and translucent. One could easily spot bright red corals lining the seabed, all visible to the naked eye.
Hey! She said the line!
As I continued down the pier toward the beach, I heard the engine of the boat whirring to life behind me. I turned around to see Takugo exchanging a few words with the captain. Then the boat drifted away.
Yeah, and no matter what you hear happening at night, just here's another 20, all right? Just don't worry about it. I don't care if you see a fire or not, all right?
Takugo waved that boat goodbye before making her way back to me, the dry wood of the pier creaking under each of her steps.
Hey, I'd love to go swimming right away, but I think we should find a place to leave our bags at first.
Takugo jerked her shoulders to fix the position of her bag. Good point.
I think it's that way?
Takugo pointed toward the wooded area opposite from the sea, made up mostly of fern and palm trees. There was a barely visible dirt road leading into it. Gee, I sure hope that a typhoon doesn't trap us here for 2 days because the fishing boat can't come.
Man, that sounds very specific.
There should be another wide beach beyond those and past the cape.
I don't think they get typhoons in this part of the world. I think it's called a hurricane over here.
We parted the veil of greenery to see the cape beyond it. I could hear the lively word I've never read before of the waves.
Sow?
Is that a word?
Well, I guess we're about to find out, aren't we? I don't know. Like, I can get it through context, right? Because like the S and the GH and like it makes you think of like a sigh type sound, right? Like
Yeah.
I can see it.
I've just never seen that word.
Sow, verb, of the wind in trees, the sea, etc. To make a moaning, whistling, or rushing sound. The soughing of the wind in the canopy of branches.
Huh.
Or as a noun, a moaning, whistling, or rushing sound, as made by the wind in the trees or the sea.
Today I learned.
TIL.
The beach on the other side was expansive and covered entirely in white virgin sand, causing me to squint at the light reflected from it.
Meh. You said sand.
A few light clouds languidly drifted along the sky. Crystal blue waves beat against the bright sand.
Sachi, over here.
I followed Takako down the grassy hill. The sand rasped under the soles of my sandals. The beach on this side was shaped like a big croissant, surrounded by high reefs on one side and a forest on the other. The sea reflected both the blue of the sky and the green of the trees as it extended as far as the eye could see. Right in the middle, I noticed a roof. It belonged to a small wooden water cottage with a thatch roof in the middle of the sea, connected to the shore by a sturdy-looking pier. It also had a flower bed of large red flowers to the side of its door. Opening the door, Takako stepped inside. The small room housed a double bed with a curtain, a couch, a table, a few chairs, and everything else to satisfy our furniture-related needs. All of the articles were in country style, giving the impression of dryness.
I've never been to a water cottage before. Did you book this?
Remember Mr. Tokuda from the yacht? He lent it to us.
Oh,
Takako opened the fridge and inspected its contents as she replied,
thirsty?
"Yes,
Are you okay with booze?
as long as it's not strong. Otherwise, water it down a bit, okay?"
Up.
Takako threw her rucksack on the bed and came to my side with 2 glasses of beer in her hands.
One for me and one for thee. Here you go.
After handing one of the glasses over, she gestured toward me with the other. Our glasses met with a cheery clink.
Oh, they did a clinking sound in the game.
Yup.
There she goes.
Yeah.
I was resting on the sheet while watching Takako play around, doing a combination of cartwheels, backflips, and then a backward somersault, but her hand slipped on the last one and she landed on her bum.
Ow.
Hey, stop that. I don't need you hurting yourself.
Ah.
I gave her an indignant look as she came closer. Her silhouette blocked the bright sun, putting me in her shadow. She had fairly impressive abs for her age.
Yeah, thanks for noticing. I think I'll go take a swim.
Have fun.
Yup.
She began running toward the sea, then stopped midway, came back, and sat down next to me on the sheet in the shade of the trees.
Sand's too hot.
She was rubbing the soles of her feet, trying to cool them off. Need a pair of sandals? I gave the pair lying next to me a glance. Takako considered the sandals for a moment, then shifted her gaze to the sea.
Won't matter once I reach the water, right?
She stood up.
I'll go take a swim.
Have fun. I'll look at your abs.
Let's go. Okay, you can do that. Thanks. Let's go swimming together later, all right?
Sure. She dashed across the sand-covered beach toward the sea. I lay down on my sheet. The leaves of the palm above me were swaying in the wind, occasionally giving a few glimpses of the blue sky beyond them.
Sachi!
Looking in Takuko's direction, I saw her trying to keep her balance among the green waves as she attempted to put the water goggles on her face. She appeared to be saying something, but the sound of the waves drowned it all out. I can't hear you.
There's really beautiful fish and corals in here.
As I cocked my head, Takuko shouted in a louder voice. Seemingly satisfied that I waved back at her, she put her goggles back on and dived down into the waves again.
I have to go. My people need me.
Fair enough. As Takuko disappeared with a splash, the sea returned to its prior calm state. The light tropical breeze disturbed the leaves and the water surface, carrying a pleasant kind of humidity and warmth. Splash! I absent-mindedly observed the somewhat boisterous calm of the tropical sea as Takuko's face popped out of it, sending a spray of water into the sky. She was quite a distance away from where she had initially submerged.
I got it.
Takuko began walking toward me, her legs piercing through the underwater currents. She was carrying a large blue fish.
Haha. So get this. There was this huge fish.
How big was it?
It was huge.
She dangled it in front of me. How did you catch it?
Arms.
Takuko, the expert catfish noodler. I'm getting a whole new personality together in my head for Takuko, spending her weekends shooting, mudding, and catfish noodling.
It doesn't sound wrong. That's about right. Oh, man.
I was gazing at the distance as a shadow fell on my face.
Hey, I'm back.
It was Takuko's face, who'd been gone to explore the island, that blocked my sun. Her hands reached out to me.
Hey, it looks good on you.
I touched my head to find a hibiscus crown on it.
I found a cave down there. You want to go see?
She gave me her hands and pulled me up. Oh.
I think it'd be better if you put your sneakers on.
As I was about to put on my sand-covered sandals, Takuko placed my sneakers next to them.
You know, caves.
Are you trying to take me to someplace dangerous?
Yeah. Not really, but it's surrounded by cliffs, so you might step on a shell along the way.
I put on my sneakers while Takuko picked up her thin beach coat. This smells fishy to me.
I just want to get bit by bugs.
How far is it anyway?
About 20 minutes or so on foot, I think. I mean, they did say you can go around this entire island in less than an hour.
She glanced down at her hand-drawn map. I leaned closer to inspect the collar of her coat and smelled the citrus-like fragrance of an anti-bug spray.
How would you describe that smell?
Citrus-like.
If you had a different word for it, what would it be?
Let's see. Sweet? Acidic?
I'm trying to get you to say the citrusy. Come on, Sachiko.
I thought you were trying to get me to talk about the mild fruity note.
Nah, there's nothing mild about this, babe.
We trekked to the cliffs on the other side of the cape that we passed on our way to the beach, finding ourselves at what looked like a dead end, surrounded by reefs. Is this really the correct way?
Well, if you go along that cliff, you should be able to pass along the sea, I think.
Maybe it got sunk by a high tide or something.
Wait.
Takuko went toward the cliff she was pointing at earlier. She stepped on the neighboring patch of water and kept walking. She took a few careful steps before turning back to me.
Up. I think we could pass through this here.
I followed her, the soles of my sneakers splashing at our slightly submerged bridge. Soon enough, we found ourselves at an expansive area on the other side of the cliffs. It was a huge shoal beach. A long bridge of sand extended into the sea in an arc.
I've never seen anything like this before. I should have brought my camera.
Takako gazed into the distance. She then continued onward, stepping on the slightly submerged sand as she scrutinized the map in her hands. The sound of the waves felt more distant than before, the splashes of water below our feet drowning it out. The clouds drifted along the sky sluggishly and in a chaotic pattern. As I walked on, gazing at the emerald green sea and listening to the sound of the non-diegetic bossa nova, I suddenly felt like the waves on its surface were drawing closer and closer to us. Takako.
That's my name. Yeah?
A drop of cold water landed on my head. Before we knew it, a huge shadow covered the beach we were on. I glanced at the sky to see a massive storm cloud pass above us. Pit-pat, pit-pat. A few ripples extended across the surface of the sea, and in the next moment, it seemed as though a waterfall had exploded above us.
Oh, Futz, let's go to the woods.
Takako grabbed my hand and pulled me inland. Well, that sure came out of nowhere.
I'm all drenched now.
I wonder if it's a squall. It feels like a typhoon.
Oh, we left our things out in the open back on the beach.
Yeah. Raindrops pattered against the leaves, giving the impression that someone was playing drums above our heads. Through the foliage above us, I could see a cloud sparkling in white as the sun rays pierced it. Takako sneezed.
Hey, hon. I'm freezing.
Just don't catch a cold in a place like this. As I leaned against the tree, waiting for this to pass, Takako suddenly came closer and pressed herself against me.
It's warmer like this, though.
Hey. She pressed her breasts against mine. I could feel their softness through the swimsuit, our warmth blending together. As I had nowhere to escape with the tree trunk behind me, Takako began rubbing her body against me. She kissed me on the mouth, still pressing against me.
Just for a little bit, please. I might really catch a cold if I get any colder.
Takako smiled at me.
Wink.
The leaves suddenly rustled behind her, and she turned around. I spotted something that looked like a big spider crawling along the ground, causing all my muscles to tense up for a moment.
Oh, it's just a coconut crab.
But as I looked closer, I realized it was just one of those crabs I'd already seen all over this island. Hold it until we find our way back, at least. I pushed Takako away.
It's your fault.
Takako gave the patch of grass that the coconut crab had disappeared into an indignant glance.
You know what you did, crab.
Takako angry she's been shell-blocked.
Yeah, she really did, didn't she?
As I fixed my swimsuit, Takako gave her map a careful look before inspecting the island through the crack in the trunk.
I can see the cliff from here, so I feel like we're close. We could go a bit further and hide from the rain in the cave.
That's a good idea. The thick foliage protected us from most of the rain, but a few cold drops still snuck through, falling on my neck. Takako pressed forward, pushing fern leaves out of her way.
Ugh.
She stumbled on the root of a green, moss-covered tree, but I caught her from behind. Look where you go, jeez.
Thanks.
We continued forward, fighting the leaves in our way. Are you sure we're going in the right direction?
Well, I think it's just over there.
I followed her gaze. Almost completely hidden by the surrounding greenery of moss and fern trees, we came upon a cave entrance. How did you even find this?
Exploring. You know. What one does.
I see.
This is normal, right? Come on.
Takako jumped down from the rocky upper ground we were on and extended her hand toward me. I slowly climbed down as well, but my foot slipped on the wet surface. I fell straight into Takako's arms.
Oh, you're soft.
Oh, cut it out.
Nope. Can't make me.
As we descended into the cave, now protected by its sturdy roof, the sound of the rain grew more distant. It's a lot more spacious than I thought. I could hear the sound of dripping water from somewhere. We noticed countless tunnels in all shapes and sizes a bit further down. Some were too small for even a person to squeeze through, others were large enough for a car to fit. They formed a complex layout like weathered lava stones. Takako shot a few quick glances around the vicinity as she pressed forward. Is there something else you wanted to show me?
There should be some fireflies here.
You mean glowworms?
Well, that's what I was told. You wanted to see them, right?
I saw a puddle of water right where she was stepping. Takako, wait.
Waiting. What's up?
Her foot sank into the water. I was trying to tell you to be careful.
Oh, damn.
There were countless gashes on the rocks we were walking on, and some of them were filled with translucent water. A few seemed deep enough to swallow you whole. The road into the cave was leading further and further down below. I can barely see anything anymore.
Now that's more like it.
This is dangerous. I think we should turn back.
Let's just go a little bit further. Come on.
Takako's voice reverberated across the countless tunnels, growing too garbled for me to make out.
We can think about the great story this will make later on. We can call it Takako's Caving Page.
Did you say something? I stopped and looked at her.
Look!
There seemed to be light above a large black rock further down. I could see a few trees and a patch of white sky through a hole in the rock wall. A stream of water trickled down into the cave, splashing down like a waterfall, into the pond it made below. The ceiling's sparkling. You probably said that, not me.
The ceiling is sparkling.
Takako pointed at the many blue lights above us. As a storm cloud drifted over the hole in the wall, the cave momentarily fell dark, making the lights stand out even more. They looked like stars.
Oh, I wish I brought my camera.
I doubt we'll ever forget this, even without a picture.
Oh, hey, the non-diegetic bossa nova's back.
I sure do love non-diegetic bossa nova. We got out of the cave, and after traversing the woods again, found ourselves on the beach we had originally started out from. As I walked closely behind Takako, we left a trail of footprints that made it seem like some four-legged animal had been prowling along the beach. But the waves soon washed them away.
Do you think the twilight looks so vivid because the air here is clear pollution?
I gazed at the violet sea and the marmalade-covered sky stretching above it. The refreshing breeze blew toward the west, leaving little wavelets in its wake. Takako raised both her arms as she stretched. I absent-mindedly gazed at Takako's marmalade-colored back and the violet sea while trying to hold down my hair in the wind. Takako's twin tails painted circles in the air as she turned her head. Her face lit up in joy as she spotted something and cheerfully trotted toward it. There was a tilted palm in the direction she was walking, an idyllic-looking tree with its roots stretched all across the green carpet around it. Its tilted trunk stretched all the way to the white sand, while the leaves shuddered in sync with the waves.
Up.
Takako jumped on the trunk and began ascending it.
Yeah, the view's great from here. I wonder if I got tilted by the wind.
The tree would shake with her every step as she balanced herself with outstretched arms. Don't come crying to me if you fall down.
Nah, I got this.
Just as she said that, her sandal slipped, sending her face first into the sand below.
Ugh. I fell.
I can see that, you idiot. What were you going to do if you got hurt?
Cry? I don't know. I'm sorry.
I handed Takako her sandal as she was patting the sand off her butt.
Let's,
Oh, that's you.
Let's hurry back.
yeah, let's go hurry back.
I took her hand and turned back to the direction we came from. Can't believe I have to keep babysitting you, even in a place like this.
It's not my fault there's so much stuff. If I don't go see the stuff, who's gonna do it?
Fair enough. Takako kept her eyes on the palm as we walked.
I'll be back for a rematch, Palm.
Oh,
Wasn't there a picture of a palm tree above the wash basin at the place we used to live at?
was there? The horizon began taking on an indigo hue. Now that you mention it, I think there was some postcard there, yes.
Can't imagine what the real thing would look like as I wash my face.
So now that you've seen it, how do you feel?
Nostalgic, really.
I see. A white seafowl flew off into the distance toward the sea.
Hey, a sea cat! It's an odd feeling being on an island that not another single person lives on. Oh, wait, no, that was you.
It's an odd feeling being on an island that not a single other person lives on.
If our boat doesn't show up tomorrow, then,
The world will have 2 more missing persons cases.
Oh, shit. Didn't we watch a movie like that back in school?
That brings back memories.
Remind me, what did the protagonist eat to survive?
Mainly crabs and clams before he crafted hunting equipment.
Well, I did make that pesky little crab earlier. We can eat that one. I say we should find it and cook it for dinner.
You think you could recognize it?
Do you think I wouldn't? It's me we're talking about. I memorized its face.
What kind of face does a crab have?
One with dim, uncomprehending eyes.
I don't think you can tell them apart just with that.
Huh. Well, this place is full of fish and fruit, too. Bet we could live like queens if we really wanted.
Being able to let our hair down at a place like this is nice from time to time, but it'd be the end of us the moment we got sick or hurt.
Yeah, really wouldn't want to get sick here now, would you?
And there's no bath around.
Oh, I could build one for you.
I hate cold water, so you'll have to collect firewood every day.
Sure thing, babe.
I stepped on the pieces of coal scattered across the ground, crushing them into pieces before finally mixing them with the sand. Having finished tidying up after dinner, I picked up the empty can and returned to our water cottage. From the wharf, it looked like a lighthouse shining atop the Black Sea. Its light extended along the water, sparkling in consort with the waves. I opened the door to see Takugo cleaning the wire netting with a brush in the kitchen. Putting the can back to its place, I opened the curtains and lay down on the bed. I turned on my side and closed my eyes for a few seconds until the springs of the bed creaked. I felt Takugo's breath, who seemed to have finished her cleaning, tickle my neck. A moment passed and her lips pressed against it. What's with this all of a sudden?
You said we could do it when we got back.
Takugo pulled me closer to her, placing one of her hands on my breast while sneaking the other under my clothes, trailing it down along my belly. We can if you insist, but are you sure we can dirty the sheets here?
I mean, who's gonna tell? Are you gonna tell? You gonna be a snitch? Is that it?
I
girlfriend a
don't
snitch?
want stitches. I sat up, parted the curtains slightly, and stepped outside.
Where are you off to?
Takako, who had been sleeping until now, reached out to me.
My pillow left. Bring it back.
I want some air.
Wait for me.
I turned away from Takugo and stepped outside onto the terrace. I sat down, making myself comfortable on the wooden beach chair covered by a striped cloth. Crossing my hands on my belly, I gazed up into the sky. The Milky Way stretched before my eyes, beautiful enough to make me feel like I was looking at a photo album. The stars littering the surface of the dark azure waves sparkled like a collage of tiny gems.
Gonna catch a cold if you sleep here.
Takako sat down on the beach chair next to mine.
Help.
I'll go back after watching this. Why don't you have a look too? I picked up the pamphlet, opened the page with descriptions of constellations, and handed it to her.
All right. Sky's different on the southern hemisphere, huh?
Okay, so there's another hint. They're in the southern hemisphere.
Interesting. Are they in South America?
Maybe.
Chameleon, Mensa, Octans, Apus. You can't see those 4 back home.
These southern constellations sure have weird names.
It seems like most southern constellations were named during the Age of Discovery. It was during that time that European sailors first arrived on these shores. So, unlike the northern constellations that were usually named after ancient myths and legends, the southern ones were named after ship parts, scientific tools, and newly discovered animals.
Hey, over there.
Takako pointed to a spot just a little east of the Centaurus constellation.
How many bright stars over there? Is that a constellation too?
I think it's the Southern Cross.
Oh, the one on the coins, right?
The one on the coins. What has the Southern Cross on the coins?
I don't know. Is it on the flag for
I feel like it's on the flag of New Zealand or
New
something.
Zealand? I was gonna say it's either. I don't think it's also. I think it might be on the flag of New Zealand.
Going clockwise from the bottom, it's the Southern Cross's Alpha Star, Beta Star, Gamma Star, and Delta Star.
Haha, hell, Southern Cross! Always wanted to say that. What's that one in the middle?
It's the Southern Cross's Epsilon, I think. It looks pretty bright from here.
Yeah, kinda.
The reason the Southern Cross is easy to spot is because its Alpha Star, Alpha Crucis, and its Beta Star, Mimosa, are among the 21 first magnitude stars in our sky.
Wow, you sure know a lot about this stuff.
It was all written on the pamphlet.
Huh.
Takako turned the pamphlet over and gave it a long, hard look.
Reading, my biggest nemesis.
Incidentally, Alpha Crucis is 321 light years away from us.
So his light comes from 300 years before we were born, huh?
Takako picked up a glass from the table next to her and raised it to eye level.
300 years.
She tilted the glass slightly. I regarded her for a few moments until she started to blush.
Medic, I need help.
It's too late. Might as well give up.
Oh, all right.
If you know you won't be able to finish, don't even start.
Well, it's just the two of us here anyway, right? Nothing to be too self-conscious about.
Just don't make a fool of yourself in front of people next time.
You mean an alien 321 years in the future will be watching?
They would need one amazing telescope to achieve that.
Huh, you know what they say? Even the walls have ears. The guy might have still been watching us or something, right?
Maybe.
What if we placed a huge mirror on that star? Would we be able to see this beach from 642 years ago?
Perhaps. If you want to test that, how about trying with multiple mirrors and an even better telescope?
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
As Takako fell in thought, silence returned to our tranquil abode. Although it was already too dark to see, I could hear the incessant sound of waves brushing against the beach and the poles supporting our cottage. If I listened more carefully, I could also make out a cacophony of fauna and the rustling of trees from the beach.
Yusachi.
I shifted my gaze back to Takako and found her looking directly at me. What?
I don't have a mirror here, so just look at my eyes for a little.
Anything?
It's too dark to see, I think.
I'm not surprised.
Your eyes are darker than the night itself.
Yeah.
Smooching. Takako win.
So, what do you think of the game so far?
I'm wondering what the arc is going to be.
Yep.
There's got to be something going on.
Mm-hmm.
She dressed for a funeral?
Yeah, there's no way to know what that's about until next time.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, right? Well, yeah, just certainly... We got some stuff, and again, we got some Yuri. Like, I do appreciate the game takes some time early on to let you know, like, no, don't worry, no, we Yuri up in here.
just being sure, like, oh yeah, we're gonna go places, but we'll give you the game first.
Just so you know, this is not. We're not playing that game with you, friend. I can appreciate that. So, I hope you're all ready to enjoy the series because I know there is so much like. like I said, I didn't wind up finishing this game. I got a little ways into it, and before I had to stop, and I'm like, I need to save this one. So I do know some of the places this is heading in the next couple, probably the next 2 or 3 episodes, and I can't wait to share them with you.
Hell
and
yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens after that. So please, I hope you'll join us for this fun story in the coming months. We'll see you all next time for more SeaBed. Have a great afternoon or
Peace.
morning, whatever time of day. Bye.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.